Hi and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147, and I'm just getting the sort of WIP and Chat questions or answers type thing up ready. But I am going to work on my Minions picture from Diamond Art Club, and if I can get hold of my little piece of my sticker. This is the image, and I'm up here somewhere. I can see part of the minion down here, so I am about to get to the minion part. I think I'm sort of on this strip here, so what's that, about a third of the way ish, something like that. But I'm going to work on this section today. We do have some ABs, which means I am going to need to go and get my pretty placer because I've got to bring that in with me. I'm going to move my sheet of paper up there, which is what I do when I'm working on big ones. Now normally, in fact I'm still going to do it, what I normally do with a Diamond Art Club, especially the likes of Amanda Manzano, which is what this one is, and I think Hannah Lynn as well is the same. They tend to have a lot of black that's normally sort of outlines, so you can see there's some here, there's quite a bit in here. I normally always do the black first because quite often it sort of sections off a little bit for me and I work from there. Now this piece doesn't particularly have that, because it looks as though this might be part of a little section that's going to potentially carry on as black up there. Does it or does it not? Yeah, so that sort of carries on as a line of black down there. But other than that, there's this little scattering and then there's no more. But I'm still going to do it, even though this section doesn't particularly warrant it. The next section would warrant it a little bit more, but I'm still going to do it because it's my pattern. It's what I always do with one of these paintings from Diamond Art Club that tend to have a lot of black in. And then I sort of start, and I'm normally sort of filling in one of those sections within the black, but if I've got a colour out, I'll continue it on. So I'll move on to this one, which is 823. I need quite a few of those, and then I'll pop my pot back in there, but keep my lid separate just in case I get distracted. But let's zoom you in, because on this one you can see more what I'm doing than me tipping, than needing to see, you know, the screen for my Heaven and Earth designs, or me needing to tip it in or out. So yeah, last week I did ask you guys about the paintings for me to do on a WIP and Chat. Thank you so much to everybody that did reply. I think I've got a general consensus, but there wasn't loads of questions asked otherwise, so I am going to go through the replies, and then I'll sort of discuss what my thoughts on it were, and my sort of thought process once I sort of saw what you guys wanted to see. By the way, the pen I'm using today, this was actually gifted to me by Christine. I did a video on it yesterday showing the unboxing or the opening. Yeah, she's kindly gifted me 2 of these pens, and I have I used it yesterday afternoon after unboxing it. I used it on a painting for quite a while. I have got glue dots in this. They're currently slightly tinted blue because they got dabbed on my jeans to make it ready to use. I tend to find you have to prime glue dots a little bit so that they don't end up sticking too much to the diamonds to the point that you can't get them to stick on the actual canvas itself, which is not really much good, is it now? It needs to be able to stick to the canvas. So I put 2 in it initially, 2 micro dots, not mini dots. It's the smaller ones that I tend to favour. I put 2 of those in, and then after a while, once it had sort of flattened down a little bit, I did have to put in another one, but I got a good couple of hours before I had to put another one in, and so far I've just continued with this 3rd one, and it's been fine. On everlasting tips, I have ended up having to put another one in, sometimes get to 4, potentially 5 once they squeeze down, but I do get a good few hours in between having to put those extra dots in, so it's definitely a lot easier than wax. I'm adding more into it, nowhere near as often as I do with wax. But to sort of go through the replies back on the topic of what paintings I do with WIP and Chats. So Freya says she thinks I should do both Heaven and Earth designs, Mr. Quackers and Minions, all on WIP and Waffles, with the small Heaven and Earth design mixed in. So that was sort of the first response. And then Cheryl, she did say thank you for laying down the Heaven and Earth design canvas. She did find that she was able to follow my pattern and my diamond placement better with it not being on an easel like it is now. So I think for my Heaven and Earth designs, I won't use an easel. But I do think so far the view is better with when I'm doing just an individual painting to put it on the easel. It does also help, the easel helps greatly with the likes of this Minions one, because the rolled up parts are either tucked over the back or tucked underneath the front of the easel, and I'm not actually leaning on them when I'm diamond painting. So I think I'll use easel for non-Heaven and Earth designs, and for Heaven and Earth designs I'll lay them flat and see how we go. She did say she would be more partial to my WIP and Chats on a rotation between Heaven and Earth design 1, Mr. Quackers, Heaven and Earth design 2 and Minions. She would also prefer if I didn't do any work on those 4 outside of the WIP and Chats, and then you can see the progress as it goes along. So that, she said that was her 2 cents. I'm having a look now as well, because there is a couple of comments that are sort of not over what order to do them in, so I will go back to those in a minute. Joanna says she'd love to see all 4 paintings on rotation. She said just to change it up, because she does enjoy seeing the Heaven and Earth designs, but she also enjoys the more chatty atmosphere with a normal diamond painting, which, yeah, I don't have to concentrate on the exact placement as much with one of these, because the symbol's already there and I'm just placing down the diamond. So sometimes that can be easier. Mary Jane says you do 1 each week. Since there are normally 4 Sundays in a month, you could have a different one each week. If there's a 5th Sunday, you could do a totally different one. Ooh, now that's a thought. I always feel though if I keep, I don't know. Okay, I will give my thoughts afterwards on sort of my view on how I think I'm going to do the rotation, at least for a bit. The cat lady says she is looking forward to Mr. Quacker's finished. While she was away in Scotland, she saw a large selection of splatterworks that she'd love to see as diamond paintings. And Diamond Art Studio UK have replied. They do have 2 more splatterworks designs incoming, and though they can't reveal which ones yet, so you do need to keep an eye out for those 2. And discussions are already ongoing with them about more, but they are trying to sort of staggering the release and implementation, which is fine. I actually kind of agree with that, even though I'd love to go to a site and see them all. I can see that, people that do want them all, if they're staggered, then they can sort of, get them as they come out. There's quite a few splatterworks that I like the look of as well, to be honest. Diane says cycle them, so big Heaven and Earth design, then Mr. Quacker's, then mini Heaven and Earth design, and then minion. And there is quite a few people commenting underneath saying that they like that cycle, which I know I've not quite done because I'm currently doing minions, not Quackers. But that sort of implementation is in my head at the moment. Taylor did say, so this was a comment on it, Taylor said, or put them all in the decision wheel and let that decide for the day, but definitely work through the 4. So that's the thought. If I put the 4 paintings into the wheel and let that decide. Only thing with that is then I'd have to sort of, I suppose I could just do the decision wheel and let you know what it came out with. The only thing is, would I get enough of my Heaven and Earth design done if it kept picking something else? If it was a daily thing, I could see the decision wheel working, because it wouldn't feel that long. I think with there being a full week, if the decision wheel decided to pick the same one for a couple of weeks, I could imagine it feeling as though there's no change there. I know I could get it to decide through all 4. And it picked all 4, and then I reset the wheel for it to pick the rest. So that may be an option. Emmy says, please keep both Mr. Quackers and the minions in the rotation. Okay, so everybody seems to definitely like the 2 big ones that I've got on the go at the moment, as well as the Heaven and Earth designs. So Leah says she was thinking maybe I could do, so week 1 would be Heaven and Earth design 1. Week 2 would be minions. Week 3 would be Heaven and Earth design. This second one, so the smaller one. Week 4 would be a new diamond painting. Week 5 would be Heaven and Earth design. Week 6 would be Mr. Quacker's. Then it would be small Heaven and Earth design. And then it would be a new diamond painting. So it's sort of in a rotation, but Heaven and Earth design still every other week, but spread out a little bit more between Mr. Quacker's and the minions. So they would appear once every 8 weeks. But there would be a couple of other new diamond paintings mixed in there. So that's an option. Jess said personally she would focus on finishing off one of the big ones before starting another one. Otherwise there's just too much going on. Would rather see Heaven and Earth design for WIP and Waffles unless you need to unwind like you did last week. Okay, so the Heaven and Earth design is definitely something that is a popular one from what I can tell. It's definitely not something that people want ditched, which is good because I need to get it done. So I appreciate the fact that it doesn't need ditching. Jamie says she thinks I should do whatever suits my fancy on the day. She knows that sometimes she doesn't feel like working on her big painting, which is true. There has been days when I haven't been able, you know, I have just thought to myself, I cannot get the Heaven and Earth design out today. WIP and chat or not, I just do not have the time or the brain capacity to get out the Heaven and Earth design. There has been times when it's been that, especially the big one. I think the big one, because it has so many colours in it, it does also take so much longer to do than others, which sometimes I don't think helps, is the fact that it takes so long to do one, depending on what sort of time crunch I'm on for that week. Jill says she thinks have the Heaven and Earth designs between standard ones and one you've recently kitted out in a rotation. Okay. So Margaret says because she has so many paintings to do, she needs the wheel to decide which one she's going to do. She always has a Heaven and Earth design on the go because she does like that way of diamond painting. So she thinks WIP and Waffle should be on rotation with Heaven and Earth Design 1, Mr. Quacker's Mini Heaven and Earth Designs and Minions. She says she doesn't think that she'd start on the other canvas or an A Heaven and Earth Design canvas unless she had enough drills to be able to complete it. Because she'd need the satisfaction of completing the diamond painting before starting another. It's the only way to reduce her stash. And she too needs another 24 hours in the day just to diamond paint. So Jeanette says she wants to see happy colours on your WIP and Chats. If Mr. Quackers or Minions is not important, if it is Mr. Quackers or Minions, she doesn't mind. It's been a lot of dark muted colours for a bit now, which it probably has. The Heaven and Earth designs are both more dark and muted. Even if one is more black and white, the Heaven and Earth designs at the moment especially is a lot of tree trunk and a lot of definitely more muted colours. She says she thinks 3 paintings in circulation is perfect. So she thinks the 2 Heaven and Earth designs and then one of the larger paintings is a good one. And she says when you get to choose another painting, I hope that you don't use the app but just choose a fun and colourful painting. I do like working on colourful paintings. Maybe that's what it... Well, no, it's not just that with the Heaven and Earth design. I think it's it's a different way of doing a diamond painting, and I really enjoy it, and I enjoy the challenge. But I think it does take more brain power than maybe I need for the likes of Mr. Quackers or Minions. It definitely takes more concentration, but I do find that I only tend to get the Heaven and Earth designs done when I'm doing a WIP and Chat, which is also my thing, is how long can a Heaven and Earth designs go on for. And she does say, and I still love your channel. You are allowed your opinion, Jeanette. I appreciate everybody's opinion. And I do like to take on board what people do like to see. And, you know, try and take that on board as much as I can to make sure that I'm bringing variety that people like. But I also don't want people to get bored of some stuff, which is what's also gone in my thought. So Frances says she votes for cycling the 2 Heaven and Earth designs with Mr. Quackers and then throwing in a current project for the 4th. Okay. I do like the idea of a variety of throwing in the current project. So I do have thoughts on that. And then so Elaine says first choice would be both Heaven and Earth designs, Mr. Quackers and Minions with the whip and waffles. Okay. So there tends to be a lot on having both Minions and Mr. Quackers, though slightly few more for Mr. Quackers than there is for Minions. But it does seem as though everybody still does want both Heaven and Earth designs to get mixed in there. I know I didn't necessarily mention it last WIP and Chat, but I did wonder if people would say to ditch one Heaven and Earth designs in favour of getting another one completed. Fee has also said maybe to let the app decide which one I do between Heaven and Earth designs 1 and 2, or big and small, and between Minions and Mr. Quackers. And then Betty says, I love to see all 4 different videos, but she especially loves the Little Dreamers tree, which is my big Heaven and Earth design. She started her own, doing one with 237 colours. I think there is like one chart. It's still pretty much a big chart, if I remember rightly, but it has 2 less colours, and I think it may have 2 centimetres off the chart that I'm doing. There's not a lot of difference between it all. She's on the 2nd page and she's loving it. She says, thank you for the motivation to do a massive project. Yeah, I do think everybody should have, you know, if they do diamond paint a lot, I think it's nice to have a big project on the go. I think it's when you feel that there's pressure to finish that big project. And I think that's something that I'm trying to tell myself, like, yes, it needs to be finished. I want to finish it at some point. But there's also no huge rush to finish it. In fact, I've pretty much ignored the Heaven and Earth designs for quite a few months due to other stuff that's been going on my channel. And I don't think it should be ignored, but I also don't think it should be, you know, the only goal, the thing I have to get finished, because it can go on for quite a while. And especially the fact that I had this mad moment and decided to add another chart in the mix. It's not going to get done quickly, is it? It's just not possible. Sharon says, maybe see which one you like doing on the day. And thanks again for the trays. She loves them. That's always good to know. Tracy says, do a mixture and a rotation. Irene also says lovely working on all of them. And then Delia says a mixture of them all. Sally Ann says a mixture of them all. Celine says, I think you should do whatever makes you the happiest. She said she's heard over time, listening to the channel, that space is a premium at my house. Yes, it is. UK houses are not big. And when you have 6 adults living in the same house, it does become even more of a premium. She says, whichever you choose, perhaps only kit up one more large diamond painting if you want to start a new one for space reasons. Otherwise, I think that for myself and likely others that watch, we don't mind if you take a break from the harder Heaven and Earth design and do whichever you like for a WIP and Waffle. Also, if you want to diamond paint on whatever off camera, and we get to see that you did some without recording it, that is okay. She said it was cute to see that Mr. Quackers had feet on the last one, and she likes that I have fun diamond painting off camera as well as on camera. Well, thank you, Celine. And I think, okay, so that is all the sort of results, comments, little extra bits that have come in relation to what diamond paintings to do. So from mulling over everybody's comments and thoughts, I think what I'm going to do at the moment is I'm definitely going to keep the 2 Heaven and Earth designs in for the moment, but I'm going to do them, so say, I mean, let's just say on a 4-week rotation. I'll do the big Heaven and Earth designs on week 1, and I'll do the smaller Heaven and Earth designs on, say, week 3. Which means it would be next week. So I did the big Heaven and Earth designs last week. I'm now doing minions, and then I'll do the small Heaven and Earth designs on the 3rd week. Things may mess this up a little bit depending on how I'm feeling on the day. If, you know, I really don't have the inclination to do a Heaven and Earth designs, then I may change it up. But this is my initial thoughts. And then for now, I'm going to keep in on the other weeks Mr. Quackers and minions. So I'm doing minions this time because I think I did Mr. Quackers. I think Mr. Quackers was the last one I did on a WIP and Chat. If I've remembered it right anyway. You've seen Mr. Quackers recently. Though I could have that completely wrong. Now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm thinking, is that completely wrong? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I'm thinking I'll do the Heaven and Earth designs every other week. And then for now, I'm going to do Mr. Quackers and minions in the other weeks. And the reason I say for now is because the next diamond paintings that I'm going to be kitting up, and I'm going to be kitting up in this upcoming week, is I'm going to do the other Manhui Rachel custom. So the small one. Well, say small one. It's a 30 by 40 custom. So I don't want to be doing that one on a WIP and Chat necessarily, because it's then going to be a video showing the other 2 sizes of customs that I've done, so that you can see what they look like compared to the 50 by 40s that have already been done and already been shown. And the other paintings that I think I'm going to kit up and do are, the unboxings aren't actually up yet, but they're coming up. One's coming up this week, and I think one's coming up the week after. And that is the fox painting by is it Willow Art? Hang on. Willowing Arts. So the fox painting by Willowing Art that I've got from 2 different companies, both licensed, but 2 different companies. I'm going to be doing those canvases next. So really, in turn, they're also going to be a comparison, which means I'm not likely to do those on camera. Or if I do, it will only be sort of the first section of it. Apart from that, they'll be done off camera so that then you can see the comparison when they're all finished. And then I'm not sure. I'm trying not to set myself up with any more comparison videos for a bit, because even though it is still August, it's amazing how quick time goes, especially when I am doing the likes of a comparison. They can sometimes take longer than what I think. And then we will have the likes of the advent calendar in December, that of course will be a whip and chat on a completely different painting. Very exciting painting for that one. But more will come about that soon enough. Yeah, so I sort of think that those 2 won't necessarily be ones to do for whip and chats. But then what I'll do after that, I think once those comparison ones are done, is I might start working on either the Minions or Mr. Quacker's as my own time, and still show it on a whip and chat, but of course it will be completed a lot more. There'll be bigger gaps where stuff has been done, with the idea of getting one of those large paintings finished completely. And then I will bring into the rotation, you know, a current one that I'm working on, or something else, you know, that may come in for a couple of weeks and then go again. Because I think the Heaven and Earth designs are going to be there as a monthly thing for months to come. If I only do Mr. Quacker's and Minions only on whip and chats, then they will also become something that's all you ever see. And even though there'll be variety over the course of 4 weeks, it will still be the same paintings. And I feel like I want to bring the odd different thing in every now and then, even if it only comes in once, even if it only comes in, you know, for the first square that I do because I've just kitted it up, or, you know, somewhere in the middle because it's like, oh, this is the week. Oh, here we go. Yeah, let's bring in the one I'm working on. Let's do something a little bit different. Or I might kit up something that's smaller that I only do on a whip and chat, but it won't be there for as many months because it's a smaller painting. So it won't feel as though it's there for an eternity. So let me know if there's one that you would prefer to see square by square, whether that be Mr. Quacker's or Minions. Is the one that you would prefer to see come to life bit by bit and see each diamond placed over another one? But it'll be a few weeks probably before I get to that point, because I do have a few paintings that I want to do in the meantime. And then I think I want to make it so that, you know, the app decides, or maybe I decide, what paintings I want to do after that going forward, and go back to doing paintings as a variety. So I'll have a painting on the go, you know, of a smaller one, and I'll get a bigger painting finished, because then I can start another bigger painting. Have some on the go that are just for YouTube, which will be the 2 Heaven and Earth designs, and then either Mr. Quackers or Minions, and then bring in something else just to vary things up a little bit for everybody. And you know, people will get to see different styles of painting as well. I tend to do Diamond Art Club in a particular way, or at least the Mandy Manzano ones. You know, I always start with black, and then it's quite blocky, Diamond Art Club, in a weird way. You know, it's not full rigid squares, but it's not very often that you just have the odd one diamond in places. It's quite often, you know, quite a few. So like here, you know, I'm doing quite a few of them before I then have to change colours. But some paintings are a lot more confetti, and I want to be able to bring that sort of variety to the WIP and Chat as well, for everybody, that everybody likes. So yeah, that's my thoughts at the moment. We'll see how it goes. Things can always change. I know I did a strip, I think very recently, of this Minions one, because I actually didn't have a diamond painting kitted up. In fact, the diamond painting I've been working on today is actually one of the Willowing Arts. For the first time in well over a year, I think, for the first time in over a year, I actually kitted up a painting not on camera. I know, it's shocking, and I'm sorry. I am sorry and I'm not sorry. I wanted a painting to do. I'd gotten to the end of a row with this Minions, and I thought that would be a good time to stop and to just do it in the WIP and Chats for now, to sort of take it out of my head as being a painting that needs doing. And I thought I'd get a head start on the Willowing Arts paintings because there's a lot of white. So what I did first on the bigger one of the two, which, as I say, the unboxings are coming, is I decided to get out the bigger one of the two and just be doing the white, and then get it on video, get it kitted up, and then I could carry on with it, and of course show you the video in the right order. But then I wanted to start doing some other colours. I'd done a huge amount of white. I was getting extremely bored with doing a huge amount of white. I like doing blocks of it, but I'd done hours of blocks of white and I'd had enough. But I really wasn't feeling up to filming. I wasn't feeling the best. I wasn't unwell, but I wasn't feeling the best either. And I really did not want to film a whole kitting up. So I actually did it sat on the couch, watching the TV. Well, I think hubby had something on the TV. Watching whatever he was watching on the TV, and I just kitted it up. So I do apologise, you won't see the kitting up of one of them, but you will see a kitting up of the second one, the Diamond Art Club one. I will do a kitting up for that one. But yeah, I currently have one of them on the go so that I can get the comparison to you, one, as quick as possible, but second, definitely before we start any December Advent, which I know is a few months off yet, but time can run away. I know time can run away, and I don't want that to happen. Have I got enough? Did I? I've just tapped out a few white diamonds thinking, have I got enough? Did I? Because it's very weird, especially when working with a big tray. You think you haven't tapped out enough, and actually you've tapped out loads. Because the tray's so big, you miss how many you've got. Okay, so we'll move on to P. Right, what other comments did I have? Let's have a look. There was a few other comments off the back of last week's Heaven and Earth designs. So diamond painting with Todoke. Sorry, I have probably completely hashed that name because I do that, especially when trying to read when on camera. She says her grandmother also does have Alzheimer's. She's been in the home for a few years. She says she came to terms with it quicker than her grandfather did. But yeah, everybody does need to deal with it in their way. I think it's hard to see, but I've also got to think of it from, you know, from what my nan's seeing, and I think it's harder at the beginning when, you know, they have lucid moments where they're completely aware what's going on, and then moments where they don't. I can understand that frustration and confusion can come out more. I think it has now got to the point where she is just happy in herself. And as heartbreaking as it is something something that we just have to accept. And, you know, the family go and visit my nan when they can. And yeah, just spend time with her because they want to spend time with her and accept who she is. So, oh, and Emmy says dementia is the general name. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. I knew there was something like that between the two, but I always forget which way round it is. And yeah, I'm not the one in contact with the nurses and the doctors all the time, so it's not something that's the forefront of my mind. I deal with the UK stuff for my nan. That's my department. The likes of the UK pension, etc. If they need a phone call, that'll be me. Okay, oh, I was trying to find number 7 and it was tucked under my easel. And that's, okay, I'm just having a reshuffle of my case so I can get the pot back in because it's in the far corner. The cat lady says she came back to crochet through the internet. She crochets in US terms, but she can do patterns in UK terms if needed. Oh, I have to pay attention if there's 2 different types. She says there's so many videos online for beginners. That is something that I think if I'm going to do it, I need to sort of set myself okay, I'm doing it, let's go. I just can't stop diamond painting long enough to do that at the moment. And she says she's ordered the beads and the canvas for a Heaven and Earth design chart pattern. Whoop whoop. I love seeing people doing a Heaven and Earth design, whichever one it is. I think, you know, if it's something that you'd like to do and it's something you've got in your head to do, then I think you should take steps to start doing it, but not see it as something that necessarily, unless you want to, but don't necessarily see it as your only project. See it as sort of a second thing to do. I used to just do diamond painting as I would only do one diamond painting at a time. And I found I actually prefer it more if I have at least 2 on the go. Not including, you know, the Heaven and Earth designs and stuff because I do them on camera. But those that I do off camera, I like to have 2 on the go. And I think that's what it is with the WIP and Chats and stuff as well, is I want at least 2 on the go. But I don't just want 2 Heaven and Earth designs on the go. Even though they're different, they're the same sort of thing. I often like to have a round and a square on the go if I'm, you know, fully picking what I have, just for the variety. I like to have one bigger and one smaller. That's what I enjoy the most. But she says she needs to make a dent in her canvases that have been waiting for her before she starts. And she's also thinking she might want to do a cross-stitch Heaven and Earth design project using Pattern Keeper first for some experience before she uses it for diamond painting. Ooh. You're very brave doing a cross-stitch. Pick one with not many colours. Doing that little dreamer's tree in a cross-stitch, I think, that would be hard work. You would be fastening on, in effect, or, you know, starting stitches so many times just for one single one. I've just cheated and dipped my pen in the pot for those 4. Right, I'm not going to use glue dots on, especially because this glue dot's only been in today. I know I've used it for a good few hours, but it has only been in place in this pen. It's not an old one, so I'm going to go and get my pretty placer so that I can do these 2s. Be right back. Okay, I have my pretty placer, and this is just wax in a crayon shape, and I find this works best for my ABs. I do have another pen that works probably just as well. I did use it a lot in my June Waffle, but this one is a pretty colour and it sits in my diamond painting cart, of which I will do a video for that soon. I just haven't had the chance, considering I've been off all week, this last week. I haven't had a chance yet to film my diamond painting cart in the day, but I am aiming to get a video done of my diamond painting cart and my craft room. So 2 sort of separate videos to come up in the next few weeks. Oh, they're all stuck together. Let's break those bad boys up. Yeah, I just need to film them in the day, otherwise the lighting is a bit shocking. But hubby and I are having a few days away next week in Edinburgh, leaving the kids to it. We're only going away for a couple of nights, but I will try and get those 2 filmed so that I can get them up, as I say, over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully I'll be able to get up both a diamond painting cart tour and a revised craft room tour, because of course the shop is now, or a lot of the shop stuff is now in the craft room as well. So let you guys see that set up and see how that works. And see my eco space where I film. Emily says she says you've probably asked this before, but oh well, I'm going to ask anyway. I like it. I don't mind having repeat questions. She says, why does your Heaven and Earth design not have symbols on the canvas like another diamond painting? Now, people have replied to her in the comments, and I do thank you for that. It means she doesn't have to wait for my next WIP and Chats. But for my Heaven and Earth designs, I am doing a cross-stitch pattern as a diamond painting. So the pattern is on a PDF chart primarily made to be stitched, and I am doing it as a diamond painting instead, because I find that a nice little challenge, but also easier than cross-stitching it. So therefore I've bought a blank canvas to then do it. Heaven and Earth Designs have now started to do the symbols printed on a canvas, and you just buy the diamonds. But at the time that I got my charts, that wasn't available. I don't know whether I would have done it that way. I probably would have still done at least one of them with just the chart because of the challenge side of things. But yeah, I bought a blank canvas, and then I'm just following somebody else's made pattern for it to tell me where to put each of the diamonds to make it into a picture that doesn't just look like a child's drawn it, which is what would happen if I was doing it. If I was making up the design, it would not look very well shaded or have, you know, any sense of style to it. It would definitely be extremely basic. But yeah, it was Jeanette that replied, so thank you, Jeanette, for replying to that one for me. Another quick sort of comment is Dawn says she's done several customs, and she's found out that if you send the diamond painting company a digital image from your camera phone that has not been copied, so either a picture that's been taken on your phone rather than scanned and put into your phone, that their diamond painting is a lot clearer and less pixelated. Oh, she says, don't know exactly why that is, but it has been proven to be true. So that will be a scanned photo depending on how many pixels you tell it to scan, because there's different resolutions to scan a picture in. So it needs to be really high to be able to keep the quality. It's all about the pixels per inch. And therefore, if you've taken it on your phone with high megapixel camera, which many phones have now, then you're going to get a clearer image when it's changed. If you scan something in at, say, 300, dots per inch, it's not gonna give as much clarity to the company. So I do understand that. What else we got? Last one. So Debbie does say she'd like to thank me very much for helping her to work out how to cut down her work time on her diamond painting. She used to do it colour by colour, but she now does it in blocks of 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres. So I'm guessing that's on the likes of this. And she's loving it more and more as she does it. Oh, well, that's good. I am glad that helped. I did try. So with one of the paintings that I've been doing recently, it's a huge one, but I did have a very, very big section. And I tried doing some of it colour by colour. And it works for some symbols, but it doesn't work for others. Because you end up, there's some symbols that just seem to hide a little bit more in a painting. So for example, even when I was doing this section here, I actually didn't spot those four that were the symbol number 4 until really near the end. So here, if I zoom in again, so for example, there are still number 4s and number 7s and stuff, but they're not as clear as, of course, the difference between a 7 and a P. The symbols are a lot clearer. The C is a lot clearer, but the numbers, because the colours are very similar, so we've actually got 7, 4 and 9, because the colours are very similar as well, they don't always pop out. So if you're working on a small section, that's okay to find them. But if you're working on one that's 10 times the size of that, it can be really, really hard to see. And to see to find all those symbols, because your eyes do jump. Your eyes do jump about the canvas, and some symbols can be harder to find. So yeah, I like to compact it. Sometimes when I'm working on the likes of these, I'll actually work on 2 squares in an evening, but sometimes I'll only work on 1. But as you can see, I did get a little bit more done. I did get some yellow ABs in there, only 2, but I have started across. I think I did that section off camera from last time, but we're getting very close to the minions. I'm quite excited to get to the minions. It'll be a few weeks maybe until we get there, but it'll be good when we do. So yeah, thank you all so much for your, opinions and your thoughts on the WIP and Waffles. I do want to keep the WIP and Waffles up. I do want to keep the Heaven and Earth designs up, whether that be one or both of them at the same time. And it's nice to know that you guys all like the minions and the Mr. Quackers as well, for me to keep in the mix. Maybe until I've got some more of the projects, my project diamond paintings done, and then maybe I'll have a re-evaluation and see if you guys are sick of any paintings yet. We'll see how it goes. But have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.